Welcome back. Let's set up our scenes for rendering. We're going to divide this in a couple of in three different scenes. So the first one is this one. Let me just save as. So let's save, and let's save as 13. This is going to be shot 1 main flip render, and v1. It's good. Or let me start with render shot 1 main flip. So we have all starting with render. We know that is related to the render. I'm going to save, and so let's organize this. I'm going to just place this in manual. So the rain mist, as we discussed, I'm going to set this to 1. We don't want. This is the boat splash, the water spray. Now this is the water spray from the ocean. We're going to keep at 0. We want that. And here's the boat splash. We can set as 1. And now this is set to 1. Now it's up to you to decide if you're going to render with the volume of the ocean included, or if you render like that. It works both ways. I'd say with the volume is a little bit better, but it takes much longer. So this is a way that I think it's going to work for these shots. It's going to be dark and all that. So that's a way to do it for sure. The thing with that one is that it's going to be a little bit trickier to work with the background ocean, because for the background ocean, you need like to have like the displacement. But so with this way, using the karma node here, you can't do that, right? But we can do something similar with like the regular nodes. I mean, like you can't do that because you can't bring the spectra here with only one value of spectra and deform it. And if we do have this option, I don't know how to do that in this with karma setup of the materials using the USD materials. I don't know how to use the spectra in the regular way. But what we can do is to have the regular material palette. So if we go to the material context, and because I'm all this is just because for the foreground layers, the displacement, we have only the tiny ripples that we are not having in this one. But for the background ocean there, we actually going to displace both the big displacement and the other one just with the spectra. So that's why we would need to have something like that. So maybe we can use the ocean surface, and let's try to do that and see what is the look that we're having from the ocean surface. The only thing that I'm going to do like a copy of that, let's call ocean surface 1. So we know it already has the spectra, the high frequency in it. But into the ocean shader, I want to come to the refractions and make like a place like a 0 in here. And the diffuse is good. So we keep like that. And let's see what that give to us. So I'm going to set this, and I'm going to render straight this guy in here. So we see that. This is the path correct, and the material is the ocean surface 1. So now let's see what we have. I'm going to restart render. We're going to render just that. So the camera. Why is it bringing all that? I guess there is a bug because it shouldn't render the boat. The boat is not connected to here. So why is doing that? Ah, okay, it's just because in manual. Sorry. Now it should work. And then I just confirm with the look that we're going to have with that shader that doesn't have the volume inside. We kind of like drastically reduce the refraction, so there's no transparency on that layer. But we do going to have like some the ripples on it, the high frequency details back, and you see like the high frequency details make the geometry take longer to render, but it's definitely not going to be that long. Yeah, you see like it's kind of like weird how this area works with the reflection. You see the details, but it does not like have the attributes that we want. So let me go back to the material and see if we can tweak things. So I want to the reflections. I want to decrease that like maybe 2.2 just to see a drastic change if that's going to affect. And maybe I need to increase the diffuse. Yeah, we lost all of it. So definitely we need to have like that. So it's going to be trickier, I guess, to get like the regular surface. Let me, yeah, it's going to be a little bit trickier because of the displacement and how to match. So I would say, unless you want to deform the whole background, but then you're going to lack a lot of details if you want to deform the geometry, because the key of having a huge area is to just have a very few polygons for the background to render. So yeah, you can tweak that if you like to get like a look that you don't need to have like the volume underneath, but it might look different than mine because I render with that on. And depend on the camera angle, if you can frame only this area and not the background ocean, you can go with the other option that we had, like the one with the shader that we created inside this material network here. So you can do that. For me, I have the volume, and I would need to use the volume shader for that. And yeah, so let's set up the correct way to do that. I'm going to pause the render. Pause. I'm going to select this guy. Come in here, and for this one, I'm going to enable back the volume here. Yeah, enable this one. Enable this one. Sorry, I need to select the correct ocean surface and the ocean volume. Here the same thing. We need to get to the material, ocean surface, and ocean volume. And this is correct. And here the same thing. Ocean surface and ocean volume. So yeah, we have this one. Let me bring this and let me render just that. This is the render with the volume. It's darker, but it makes sense. It's a very deep ocean. You see the highlight a little bit in these areas, so it's good, you know. Like, and you have like all the breakups from the spectrum that we had, so it's working. The next thing is that you need to decide if you want to have like everything in one render, or if, and then if you do like how do you want to set up, like if you want to split the boat and the boat splashes and the white water, if you want the white water to be set as an additional layer on top of everything, you need to set all of them to be a phantom. So they're going to be captured by this reflection and refraction, but they're not going to be here. So it's just about like how you want to split. If you want to further split, and then when you render that white water, you set these ones, you come in here and you set these ones as matte in the holdout mode. You come in here and you set to create and you set that as a matte. So I need to pause the render, and then they are matte and they are regular rendered. So the matte is going to cut out areas that are that they would just cut out. Like if the white water is behind this little bump, this little bump would cut out your white water. So when you merge them and combine them in post, they're going to match perfectly. And everything that is being reflected also works like that. So, and also for the boat, like you can have like the boat separately. For example, we can do like that. We can have the boat and the boat spray as a matte. I would do that. So then it's better than you learn how to do that. So it's how to set up. So for this render, you can come like, let me just show you. I think it's important to know. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to show you two ways, right? Like two combinations that you can do for splitting that. And you can do that in many ways you want once you understand the concept that I'm going to talk about here. It's just loading everything now, so that's why it's like that. So first, I want to render the ocean and the white water on the ocean. And in the next render, separately from this, I want to render the boat and the splashes that goes with the boat in a different render. So let's set up that. For that to happen, first we need all these to be regular materials. All these should be all set as a regular white water. Here we have the boat splash, so I need to separate this. For the boat splash, they don't need to, they just need to reflect. So you come to this, the mist, you don't need to. So I'm going to just do like something, for example, because you don't need the reflection of the mist, it's just going to be too small and there's no point of doing so. So I'm going to do like that. And this one is in here. And for this one, I want to set this to 1. So we're not loading that. But these guys, I want to set them to be phantom. So you come to the, where is it? Yeah, here to the render visibility. And you want them to be invisible to primary rays. So they're going to be phantom, and this one invisible to primary rays. What means they're going to be visible just on the reflections. So for the boat splash, you're going to see in the water, you can see them. And this is the white water surface. We're going to see them all over. They're going to be combined. That's just something that I'm deciding to show you how to do, but you can split even that. So then you would do that as phantom as well as we have here. But as my goal is to teach you how to do, I can do the combination of all. The boat spray and water, we can have that on. So yeah, all these can be on. I'm not going to do they're not going to be like mist, phantom or matte. And the rain mist, this one we can totally disable. It's already disabled. And for the boat, we can have like them reflect. So we can also set these ones to have like that. So they're going to be just visible in the reflection, the refraction. So, primary, and this one as well. Primary. Great. So these are going to be just the reflection. We won't see them, and everything else is going to render. This one should be 0. This one is 1. This one is 1. Yeah, we have everything set. So you would, of course, need to rename that. Like this is render. You can call this, like, for example, main flip. So this is going to be main flip. We don't need to have like that. Or if you name your scene shot one main flip, you can have like this as read name. But I want to do like $OS in here. So we have like a folder for the main flip renders, and then the render name is the main flip, and then the sequence and all that. Yeah, it's good. Regarding here, enable depth of field, you can enable if you have like the camera and you define the focus, where do you want the focus, or you can not do that if you don't want. I'm going to enable that. The way I did the focus is like you come to the here, because we're importing the camera from this, right? Like, so let me just disable that. You can disable that and just enable the sailboat. The boat I want to enable is the boat without the sails, just to visualize. Okay, and then in the camera, if you select the camera, you're looking through the camera. But if you not have this lock on, if you have off and you go away from the camera, you can just come in here, and if you press like this icon or press enter, you can have like this. And if you right click, you have like this focus handle, and this is going to allow you to set the focus, and you can come to the camera sampling and keyframe that. So this is the range of the focus depending on the f-stop, like a regular camera. A lower f-stop means like narrow, like more things are out of the focus, and like 2.8 in this case give this range, start to get like in focus in here and go all the way to here. This is the center. Then you move, and whatever you want to focus, you just keyframe. Okay, so that's how I made the keyframe animation. I'm going to render that so we can see what we have from this. Thank you. We'll have like the boat, and the boat is just a phantom. So it means when we render it, we're going to render the boat on top of this, so it doesn't need to cut because the boat is going to be on top of that. But the ocean itself needs to cut the boat. So let's prepare the second way. So this is the first way. We have the ocean regular, we have the whitewater regular, but we have the boat splash whitewater as a phantom, so it just might capture some reflection. It's very hard to visualize in this case because a lot of things going on, and it's very like, yeah, it's a very busy scene, so it's hard to pick up like that. But it's basically just capturing the reflection of the splash in this one. And we don't have any of the wind and the rain effect. We have full on dust gust from the ocean sprays, like these little bits, and from the rain mist, nothing. And the boat is set to phantom, so it's just capturing the reflection and that. So the next one that we need to prepare would be the opposite, is the layer where you see the boat and the splashes of the boat, and I show you how to build that. So let me pause that. Let's pause the render, and let's build this. It's a little bit different, like let me actually save that as a different file. So this is the main flip. Let me save, and let's save a second file, save as. So it's the 14, and it's render shot 1 boat and splash. Okay, boat and splash. For that, we can disable these two, like, so we can like maybe disconnect that, or we can just copy this individually like that. So we can just have this in here and this in here, and we set this to 1, and we do the same thing for the other one, so we can enable and disable this easier. So this one in here and this one in here, and this is set to 1, so they're not coming through. And in this case, we don't need a material because it's just to cut, so we can disable the material, and we also can just connect straight this guy in. We don't need the volume. We're just going to use that to cut, so we need to come to here and set this, the holdout, to matte, so it's going to cut. And just to make it simplifier, we don't need any velocity blur, so we can disable the velocity blur on that. How the whitewater is going to affect our boat? Do we need it to be set as phantom? Like, do we need the whitewater in any way? Is it going to cut the boat? I don't think so. I think it's totally fine if we disable that. So what I can do is, yeah, we need to simplify that because we have only one for all of these and it's not very useful to us. I'm going to enable that. So this one we want yes, and I'm going to just disconnect these guys. So all this white water, we don't need them because they're not going to really affect the boat. If we do want to see, like if the boat is very shiny and you want to see the reflection, you could have the reflection of this into the boat, but it's too heavy. It's a trade, you know, like yeah, is it completely true to not have? No, it's not, but it's very heavy, you know. You're going to save a lot of time not having this affecting the boat, and it will work. So, and for that, we don't need this to be phantom. We actually we want this to be visible to all, so like that. And you can just do the same thing here, visible to all. And we have like the mist also coming in. We don't have any of the white water surface. The water spray, in this case, we can disable it, so we don't need the water spray to be present. It's fine. The rain mist, we don't need. We're going to render them separately. And this one we do need, but then we want to set this to all and all and all. If I did everything correctly, I'm going to save, rename that. So this is boat and splash. And let's render this guy. Restart render. Very fast. You see, blasting fast. And you see this cutout, this is coming from the ocean. So it's really good. Don't worry with the background, we're not rendering the background. So we're just having this. And you see it's cutting out. We see the splash, we see the mist here. It's hard to see because of the HDRI, but basically you can see it happening here and the splash, and it's really fast. So that's a good way of rendering. So you render that as well. Okay, that's really good. And the light, it's important to don't touch a lot the light, so it might be harder for you to match everything in comp. But yeah, without the light is really good. And I think the sail is coming along really nice as well. The splash also looks good. So now in the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to set up the rain and mist, and the last render that we're going to do is the BG ocean. Okay, thank you and see you in a bit. All right, so let's save this one and let's save as another shot. So this one is going to be 15, render shot 1, rain, view 1. All right, so let's set the rain. And the rain is going to be very different. So what we want is the boat to be a matte. So let's do that. We can select all of them, come to the holdout, set, and say to matte. It's just to cut out. And we can disable the materials. We don't need any material for the boat, so it's just to cut out. Then we come to the rain and mist, and this is our main one, and we set to yes. And you can just like, we don't need any other thing from above that. So we can just set this straight into here. So this is not going to affect anything. So we just have like the rain, the mist, and we don't even need to cut out the with the ocean because we did that already. Delete the particles, bring in the volume of the ocean and deleting them. So we only have that. It's really simple. The great thing about this is that we can now say rain, mist. The great thing about this is that we can use the XPU if you have a good graphics card. So let me try that. So XPU, and let me just set this to the camera, and let's set this to restart render. The XPU just takes a little bit longer to load into the GPU, but once it do it, it cleans up very fast. And you see it's 1.3, it's 3.1, but it's going to just jump to bigger chunks after a while. So this is not linear. If you look to 6% is taking a long time, and then you're going to see after towards the end is going to accelerate it much faster. And all depend also like in your settings for the render, but I have like minus just like a default value, and you see it's jumping faster and faster, and it's going to render probably in 1 minute and something in my machine. So it's just this. You see like the lines coming through of that, and you see the mist is maybe a little bit hard to see with the background, but it's just like that. So it's good. And you see the cutout. This is what I mean, like you're having the boat cutting out the geometry, so it makes sense. Like you have like things that are in the back, it wouldn't be visible into this. So everything that you see in the front is related to the particles that are flying in front of the boat, and the cutout is because we don't have anything behind it. So it's good. It's working. In 1 minute it finished. So this is the other one, and now we can set up the background geometry. Okay, for that we need to do a little bit of a new shader, a variation, because the new shader should also contain the spectrum from the large ocean and the smaller simulation spectrum, and the very tiny one. The very tiny one we can just disconsider. We don't need to add that. It's not going to be visible in the background. It's so far, so it's good. So see you in the next one. All right. So let's save as. We save this one just, and let's save another one. Like this is going to be 16, render shot 1, BG ocean, and save. It's really nice because, sorry, first I want to pause the render. It's nice because as we are setting the name in here, every single time when we do that, it's just changing the name to the correct folder, and we have like all the folders separately correctly. So let's go to our material. I want to delete this one, and I want to make like a reference copy of this one. So you press Ctrl, Alt, and Shift, and you make this as a reference copy. You know, like this. Once you change anything here, you're going to change in here. So I'm going to say like this ocean, BG ocean surface. So BG ocean surface, and the same thing for this guy, but we wait. Yeah, let's do it. It's important they are the same, otherwise they won't match the colors. If you change the colors in here, they should be the same as the other one, right? So volume. Okay, so let's do what we need to do in this guy. So I need to dive inside, and we need to add different spectrums. So the ocean sample layers. So I'm going to do like another one, ocean sample layer, and you can just see like this is the spectrum name and the spectrum geometry, right? Like, so we need to have another one of that, and this one should be different. So let's separate spectrum name uh, 2. Why is that? I don't know why it's complaining. Yeah, it's complaining for some reason, but I don't know why it's complaining. Okay, this one spectrum geometry, let's call like this big spec, and this one is mid spec. So okay, we have the mid spec, and this one is the file name, right? And the mask name, we don't care. The time, we should have the same time. So you can plug the time in here. Sample position comes from this guy. So let's do the sample position. And we also need the down sample to be matched. So we match down sample. We don't have the air blur. We can copy, but doesn't make any difference. Like for now, it's okay. And the mask, just in case, let's plug, but we are not using the mask like that. We have like the mask on points. This would be like a volume for the mask. And yeah, this one, okay, this one is the one that, okay, we need to transform to the object. So this one is the one that should be the sample position. Yeah, like that. So it's good. This is the global information. And this is the deep mask. Yeah, we don't have that. We don't need that. We're just going to add things. So we don't even need that multiplier. What we need to do is to have like a copy of this, and we have like the displacement coming in, and we add that in here. So we have like everything added. So the two displacements, and they don't have mask because we want to displace everything, and we don't need to be the small one, right? Like everything's good, everything's the same. Yep. The color, how about the color of our ocean? I need to double check if the color is matching. So let me do like a manual. Let me dive in here. Let's grab the color, and this should be the color of the ocean because this is based on the vorticity and the velocities. So this guy is the color. I'm going to copy this and just want to make sure that we have this color in here. So I want to get like, oh, actually we don't need to do the color on point, so we can just do that straight on the geometry. I can just come to the material, dive inside, and we can just like disable that. So I'm going to cut this guy, or maybe I should have like, I can have like a parameter. The parameter should be color, and that should be color, and let's call this color BG, just to have like a different name, BG, like that, and color BG is the label, so we know that we are going to plug that. So it doesn't need to be stored on points. Okay, let me go one level up. So the color here should be here. Let me see. Yeah, the color is there and the big displacement's there. So let me organize that. Edit parameter interface, ocean shader. I want to have like the color on the top part. So let me go where I have the color. Let me cancel that. I'll do like that. It's better. Okay, so color, ocean shader. I'm going to put that in the top. And for the displacement, I'm going to make it like that. So apply, accept. So now I have the big and the medium. So for me, this is the flat spectra V2. Yeah, this is the medium. Oh, sorry. I want to this. I don't want to that for that to be connected, and also this one. I explain why the bounds, because now we displace a big wave, so I want to make the bounds like much larger. And this one should be the flat spectra 2, and the big one should be the big spectra. So we don't need to add that. Everything should be okay. So now we need to do the same thing with the volume of the ocean. And the ocean shader, this is the one that we need based relative reference. So that's the color that we have for that. So it's matching the correct color. And the mean wave and height, we need to change that minus 4 and 4, or even like minus, let's make it like minus 6 and 6. And we need to do the same thing that we did for that, for these guys. So let me copy them, come back in here, and now I paste them. Because the names match, they are linked. So this one, we need to rename this. Maybe we keep the name like that. Yeah, it's okay. We know that one is the big. We don't need this. We don't need this. And we add this guy in. And that's all for this one. So the big spec, we can just move that to the displacement tab, spectrum, like apply and accept. Now we deselect that and the displacement bound, also these two, because we need to copy them from here. So I'm going to come to the displacement. There is this displacement bound. I'm going to copy the parameter and paste them in here. Right, so this one matches. And also the spectrum, if we change from here, I want to copy parameter, I want to change them in here. So base relative reference, so it's matching that. And the same one for this one. So copy parameter. The name doesn't matter to match. It's just whatever is reading here. Okay, we have set it correctly. So now let's go to here. And we have like this. So I'm going to copy this guy, and we need to come to the stage, and we don't need all that anymore. Nothing of this is going to affect the BG ocean. So I'm going to just do like a sub import. I'm going to import that, the grid, very light. It's just a regular grid. I'm going to call this BG ocean. And OS, great. So this is BG ocean geo. Let me do a render geometry settings. For that, we just need to increase the dicing quality to 1. And we need to import the ocean vol. Just come in here and select that and whatever we have like that, it's the BG Ocean Grid, Alt Ocean, BG Ocean Vol. Yeah, this guy. So it's correct. In this case, yeah, we don't need that. Can make it like, oh, doesn't matter. So, but we need the uniform value, the uniform volume to check on. And this guy, we need to copy and paste from the material. So let's go to the material tab, come in here, copy this guy, come back, paste relative reference in here, and the render visibility is set to create and set this to primary ray so it's not visible outside. We can merge and we can do a material library. BG Ocean Matte, and this one is what we're going to plug in here. And now we need to add the two of them, assign geometry, and let's select this. So we should have, like, let me bring, okay, ocean geo, ocean volume, and let's bring the materials. So surface for this one, volume for this one. If we did everything correct, and if we select that and restart the render, we should have, and it should, yeah, it does not work properly. It didn't work. I need to figure out why. We have that set correctly. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good. Let me figure out why it did. Okay, I know why. The reason why is because it's 2XPU, so pause render, and for that it doesn't work with XPU. We need the CPU render of that. So let me see if that fixed. Restart render. The uniform volume is something that is not supported yet, I guess, and also the displacement by the spectra in the shader. It's not just by the time that's taken to initialize. I imagine that it does work now. You can see a very big deformed ocean, but like in the back. So yep, this is our ocean, and it's been deformed, and everything that we have like in here, like the foreground is going to cut out this. So yeah, it's not going to be visible. What you can make sure, like sometimes, like imagine that your ocean's like that, and this is poking through it for some reason, is going through your main flip. That is not nice to have like this poking through. So you can set as a mat, or you can place this further down. But I think it's going to work. Our ocean is going to be on top of that because this is further down. So it's going to work normally, and it's only going to make sense once the scale looks strange because the back and we only have like the small displacement. But we need to import the whitewater next for this, for the BG Ocean, the one that we created. And that's all. Thank you. Welcome back. Let's import the whitewater for that. I think what we can do is just copy these two guys here, and we can use those. Let me bring it now. Let me pause this, pause, save, and let's import this one. So this is the alt BG So this one, and you can just copy this name and place it in here. So load this reference and whitewater OS, yeah, it's good. And the same thing for this guy. Let's copy. This is the alt PGO, this one. We can copy this and we can place that in the name here. Okay, let's set if this is visible. Yeah, it's visible. This one as well. And now we need to copy this one in here. So this is the mat for that. I just want to be organized, but it's not going to make a big difference, the naming here. All right, so we do have like a motion blur, yeah. And now we need to bring this one as the geometry, and the basic whitewater can be the points. So the same thing here. So this one is the geometry and whitewater. We can merge, and we can merge. And let's restart the render. We're going to take a little bit longer because we have a lot of points for the whitewater in the background. Some of the whitewater might be floating because we transformed the grid of the ocean backward, and but we didn't try to actually match exactly what we have. No, it's not. But then you can see that's a good reference because this one is more or less in the correct spot. So we have like all this that doesn't need to be here, but maybe we need that because of that chunk there, right? Like, so this chunk. Yeah. In the end, what we can do, we can use the other oceans to be a mat on that, just to be safe. So I'm going to pause the render, and I'm going to just bring the oceans without anything. It's going to be very light. So I'm just going to bring these two guys here, these two guys here, and these two guys here. So what we're doing here, we're just grabbing the geo of the oceans, and we're going to bring them in here to the render part, and we can merge them in as well here, but they're going to be matte. So let me see if they're already set to be matte. I think so. Yeah, they're matte and they don't have any material, so they're good. So let's merge, and if we do like that and we combine them in here, let me bring them here. Okay, we're not labeling this part. I just want to move fast for you to understand the technique, but this one is going to be very simple. That's why also I'm not properly naming it. So this is just the ocean to cut out this. Let's see if it's doing its work. It work. So restart render. So we should see this being cut off by that. You see all these areas that you see here are from the grid that is poking through the ocean. So to be sure that like we're doing that correctly, and I'm going to do something else in the next lesson. I'm going to show you that we're going to upres a little bit the geometry, and we're going to cut out, based on that, we're going to cut out the area that we don't want to render. Otherwise, when you render, if you do like a merge, these parts would be poking through the other ocean render, and you do like need to do like a manual mask, and can be very yeah, it would just add a lot of more work that it's unnecessary. So in the next lesson, we're going to cut out the geometry and be safe in the area that we want to keep. Thank you. So let me save this, and Okay, let's go to the object and let's show what I want to do here. Right, so we need to visualize these guys. So I'm going to come to this one. I want to see this. I want to come to this one. And I want to see this. And I want to see this. Right. Select all of them. Visible. Yeah, we just need this dimension to see it, how it's going to work for us. And then what we can do, we can just come to the ocean grid. I want to do an object merge. And I want to merge those guys. So let me come here. Oh, actually, it's going to be easier if we just like do a simple blast. We don't need to bring all that, and it's going to be we just need to visualize that. So let me go in here and let's subdivide these more. So I want to have like this. Maybe we need 500 and 500, so we have a little bit more subdivisions. And let's do like a blast. If we do like, let me see from the top. I want to do, let me do like that. So let me do like a blast. And this is the area that we want to blast. I don't want to have like any of this in here. So we're going to select, and I'm going to select all this and blast this out. Oh, what is that? Yeah. So now we have the ocean, and it's going to displace that, so we're not afraid that this is going to be poking in this area. We have a little bit of overlap, that is good, and that's it. So we just needed to do that, so we make sure that this is not going to affect. And now just let's recompute the normal, place this in here. We have a little bit more geometry, but it's not at all, like it's just like a little bit. It's totally good. If we want, you can do like a little bit more, like if you want to do like a 700 and 700, you have like more subdivisions. But then in the blast, you need to reselect the areas that we want. So it's all this here, including that, and this one is the one that we want to delete. So enter. Okay, we deleted that. We have a little bit of overlap here from the top, and let's see if we have overlap. In this area we don't, so I would like just cut out a little bit in this area. So let me just recompute. So we want maybe not that, like I want to just delete to keep that. So yeah, now we have the correct ones. And if we render, if we go back to the stage, the output is the same. So we go back to stage. We don't need to cut anymore, or we can just try to see, but I'm going to restart the render. And it's going to recalculate really fast. And you see the whitewater, it's nice. It doesn't look like very low res, and it's very low res for the size of it, because we did like that trick with the scale, the p scale based on the distance from the camera, and also we had like different simulations for the distance of the camera. So now you see we have like that, and that's not going to be poking. Nothing's going to be poking here. We're going to have the main scene in the front, And now that we have like that, we don't even need to cut that. So we can just like disable that and render just solely like that. This white water, do we need to delete? Yeah, we could. We could delete this white water in the front. It's going to save us some space because they're just uh, on top of that, so we can delete those white waters. Let's do that also just to optimize. So pause render, and let's do a deletion for that. So I'm going to go back to object. Let's go back to the ocean grid, and we have that. So we set the density and everything else, and here. So I did. We're going to delete with using like a box. It's going to be easy. So I'm just going to select that, and I'm going to show you. It's just this one, right? Like the ones in the background is not intersecting, so it's just this one. So I created these three boxes. So you see, this is the box number one. This is the other box, and this is just like what is this box for? Okay, this is okay. Yeah, the box in here is based on this flip sim. This box here is based on that flip sim, and this one I need to recache that. It should be based on the. Let me go to duo, and we can have like this in here, and let me go to the object, and I'll go to not this one, to here. And so I'm just creating a box, regular box, and I'm rematching the size of it with the wave tank that we used. So for example, this one is going to be this size, relative channel, and the center is the center, relative channel. So we have like this. Let me see. Yeah. And I did that for the other one and the other one. And each of these, we're going to do like a group. Oh, sorry. We're going to do a group. So this is group. Let's call this, instead of OS, let's call this group delete, right? And we plug this one in here. We say that it's points, and we enable this as a bounding object. Then you copy that, another one. This is also going to be group delete. We're going to add union with existing, and we're going to add that. And you imagine that we're going to do that one more time. So now we have a group that is the combination of everything that we have inside these boxes. So yeah, all that. And then we can just do blast, and we can delete those particles. Group delete. Awesome. So we have these particles deleted. And now if we go back to Solaris, finally, let me go to stage, camera, and restart render. We should have deleted all these flying particles, and it's more optimized the scene. And of course we need to rename that, otherwise it's very important, otherwise it's going to override everything that you if you write to disk is going to take this name and overwrite it. So don't forget. Or you can keep like as heap name. Oh yeah, and that's, we have our ocean correctly now. So this is the PG ocean. Great. So this is going to render really fast. So that's, and we're going to merge. If we merge everything else on top of that, um, you're going to have like what we want. So that's it. And in the next lesson, I'm going to render all of them, everything. I actually did already. That's a little secret. But I'm going to show you in comp in Nuke how to merge everything together and how I splitted the layers, because I splitted one more. I splitted the both in one layer and the extra splashes in another one. So, but it's the same technique that you saw it. Thank you very much and see you in the next one. Okay, before you commit to the render, I'd like to just show you a little bit of the settings here and what you can do. The limits, the default limits, they normally work okay. The sampling here, it's always a trade, like if you add more samples, you're going to have like a better quality image, like less noisy and all that, but also it takes longer. And also one of the key things is this primary samples. 32, it's not a lot, but our scene is pretty dark and we can have like some denoise and we can do a lot of things afterwards to clean up the image. Or you can even like come to the I think it's in here. Let me see. Where is it? Okay, yeah, it's here in filters. You can image output filters. You can add like the denoise in here, but I won't. So just want to show you. But what I want to really show you is the image output. If you come to the AOVs, you can then select a few things. I normally take the combined diffuse, combined glossy reflection, glossy transmission, then combined volume. And in the extra render vars, I also normally add, you can come and say like there is a cryptomate by mature name. It offers a cryptomate that is a mask that gives like a color based on the materials. So each material will have like a different color, and you can select that in Nuke to define like to use as a mask if you want to light something and play with that. So there is a lot of things that you can do with cryptomate. So these are the settings that I have, and yep, and then I just render all of the elements. Let me show you now here in Nuke. So here is my scene. There is it's a very simple script, so I didn't do basically anything in post, just a little bit of things. But I want to show what layers that I rendered. So in this one, I have the same layers that we have. Like I have the all the flip simulations. I also have the whitewater, the mist from the environment, like from the waves, and that's it. From this one, I have the boat, and I have actually in this one I don't have the mist and the spray from the waves. I have like comped on this, so you can see that this has all the environment. And what I have here is I use the ocean as a mat to cut down the boat and everything, of course. Okay, this one I have like just the whitewater splashes. You see, the details on them are really good, and how they stretch once the wind kick in. They start like with less motion blur, they're just moving forward, and then they got picked by the wind. So this is a very nice layer. So combining them in here, you can see the splash and how the wind kicks in and brings everything that. So here I have the background ocean. That's the how the background ocean is. You see this part here that looks strange is because we're looking under it, like from the bottom of it. But yeah, they just disappear once we merge on top because this is on top. But when you look by itself, it's just like this part is we're looking the bottom of it. And here is the mist and the spray. In this case, with the cutout of the boat, and you can see like the negative spaces that give like a very nice variation, and the intensity of that is really nice. That makes like everything hold together, like it makes a big difference. And then yeah, that's it basically, because then I didn't wanted to hand any clouds because I thought like it's a storm, it's very dark, the clouds would be dark and it's almost night. So I just graded a little bit of the sky without anything. And then this one is just like a lightning. I just did a very cheap trick with the lightning, just in playing with the grade. And let me go here. Yeah, just animating, keyframing the gain and the gamma to get like this. It's not physically correct, but it was just like a cheap way to get this feeling of the storm, and it's really nice how the waves rolling and the whole effect. So now, yep, that's it for this main shot. And now we're going to approach how we would approach that with a distant shot, and also how we would approach for a close-up shot. We're not going to go in depth as we went into the main shot because that is the key shot, but we're going to try to approach what different techniques we can use for that, like that we didn't cover much in this.